The Newcomer, page 58, September 22nd, 1987. I made an appointment with my family doctor. Well, Dr. Truebird couldn't find anything physically wrong with me either. You see, I'm not a big seafood eater. The virus, organism, is more potent in fresh seafood. Canned tuna had most of the organisms processed out of it, so I had a mild infection. But then the cancer hadn't developed yet. Dr. Truebird told me to take a vacation. He said that given my lifestyle, stress could be my ailment. Stress? Drinking beer, bopping women, and delivering mail to oil riggers sure sounds stressful, eh? Well, shit, I had major time accumulated and a doctor's dismissal. So the next week, I packed my bags for a three-week vacation at my brother-in-law's cabin in Shreveport, Maine. My brother-in-law, my sister, Dr. Truebird, where are they now? The fetching matrix and Terry reached the hall of temp rooms that Lenise had told Terry about. His new room would house him temporarily until he started to have relations with my matrix. Then he would live in intercourse chambers with Lenise. This she hadn't told him about. Inside the temp room, he found the futon and the cushions. He also discovered that the floors, walls, and ceiling were covered with carpet, not the thick padding that he'd been used to. In the far corner of the room stood the padded toilet and padded toilet can. Over the toilet was a cushioned shelf which held a supply of toilettes. Outside the room was a built-in monitor station concealed within the wall next to his door, something else he wasn't told about. A monitor matrix, whom Terry would never meet, waited in a room across the hall. Because of his new status and the danger that he could be to himself, he would be monitored continuously. I will leave you now, the fetching matrix told him after she stood in the doorway. The lunch matrix will arrive shortly. After she left Terry alone, the fetching matrix punched in a code into the door panel. The monitor station slid out from the wall. Its screen revealed Terry laying on his futon. The first shift monitor matrix, Jennifer, came out of the break room and took her place in the chair before the screen, where she would be found every day from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., when she would be relieved by Laura, the second shift matrix. The fetching matrix excused herself, leaving Jennifer to watch Jerry as he spaced out the window above his futon. The puffy whites danced across the sky and rolled Terry to sleep. He was awakened by a familiar voice. He opened his eyes, expecting to see the lunch matrix, but he was alone. "Terry," she called again, watching from the monitor. "You must give me permission to enter." His gnawing hunger pains and dreamlike memories of Lenise replaced his need to dominate his servant matrices. He told her that she may enter. The voice continued with its instruction. "You are to sit on a cushion and inform me that you are doing so before I may enter." Terry got up from his bed and went over to the cushions. "I am sitting on the cushions," he announced to the air. His lunch matrix entered carrying an enormous black lacquer tray, which she steadied before him while pulling the small legs out from beneath it. She set the tray down and stood with hands clasped before her. "I will leave while you eat," she said. "When you are done, clap your hands and I will come back to retrieve the tray. If you need anything while you're eating, remain seated. Clap your hands and I will enter. Do you understand?" Terry nodded and she left. As soon as she was gone, Terry clapped. The lunch matrix returned. "What you need?" she asked. "I need to see if it worked," Terry said. "You may leave." The lunch matrix left. Outside the closed door, she said to Jennifer, "They always do that." It was in Shreveport, September 29th, 1987. It was in Shreveport, Maine that I met Rachel. She was a waitress at a lobster shack which didn't serve lobster. What it did serve was Rachel. Man, she dripped with butter. At the time that we met, she was waitressing weekends while interning at Hodgkins University Hospital. She was also hooked up with the then budding Council, an organization of professional women of Shreveport who would sit around and play what-if games, along with planning events for Shreveport and other schemes that I was not privy to. To this day, I'm not certain whether or not Rachel had gone along with her plans to pass me around. The point is moot. Despite of Rachel's zany connections, I, Troy DeFore, confirmed bachelor and male chauvinist, fell in love with Rachel. After we were married, Rachel filled me in on the goings-on of the council meetings, calming my fears that admitting that she was affiliated with this group only to further her position in Shreveport. Anyway, we bought a cottage and settled down in Rachel's hometown. And that is how I got involved with those conniving loons whose what-if games spawned a new religion and a new civilization. Sound familiar? I suspect that all went well, Lenise said, entering Dr. Diana's office. Yes, Lenise, it did, Diana replied, handing her the PIM board for authorization. It was a bit awkward, the doctor continued. He is an inquisitive charge. You need to restate, Lenise, that only my matrix may answer questions. I had to ask him twice to look the other way during the taking of the sperm sample. I do not like your ways. You never did, Lenise said, Pip sitting down in a chair before the doctor's desk, placing the pinboard in her lap. She'd heard it all before. If I didn't like you as much as I do, she said, entering her numbers into the board, I'd have you hung for always questioning my system. Sitting behind her desk, the doctor switched on the computer, trying to switch off the memory that Lenice's jesting had stirred. The words blurred before her on the screen as a memory came into view. I could have you hung for that, Diana said, feeling for the hidden laser line on Lenice's left forearm. You wouldn't dare, Lenise pushed her lover's arm away. I had it inserted so we could pass notes at school, or maybe even steal a kiss. Diana blushed at the thought, hearing her stomach churn at the thought of the school's monitoring system. It wasn't a big deal before, Lenise continued, but now... She couldn't finish her sentence and looked away, trying to find control in the beauty of her flower garden. Queens weren't allowed to marry, or even take lovers until after their duty of indoctrinating charges was over. School would start tomorrow, and this would be their last private day together. Diana had chosen to become a doctor. Her personal life would be her own, but Lenise had been chosen to become a queen. Her personal life was to be strictly monitored.